when I was in Munich, when we were all in Munich, Rich Eisen Show went to Munich.
We were there.
But you guys left before the game.
Correct.
I called the game.
You did.
And I got the sense, certainly talking to the head coach, that the Giants head coach was not in trouble. Again, there was Giants taking on the Panthers in Munich, Germany, and at the time it was being tweeted about as the last punishment to Germany for World War II.
Yeah.
But the game went in overtime, was entertaining, and sure enough, as it turned out, it was Daniel Jones's last game as a Giant. They went back home on a bye week and sent him packing. He was done. And that you could tell something was up with him when you were interviewing the players, that something was off. Nothing was really clicking. But I also got the sense, talking to many prior to the game, that the Giants ownership group really liked Brian Daboll. And the guy was the coach of the year, and they won a playoff game with Daniel Jones in his first season as HC of the NYG. They liked him. He's got an offensive mindset where he would be hired anywhere as an offensive coordinator for the team if the Giants cut him loose, if not getting another job as an HC somewhere. And you got the sense they liked him. The general manager, they like him too, and Joe Schoen. I mean, they got these guys from the Buffalo Bills. They plucked these guys from the Buffalo Bills front office and staff, and look at what they built together, right? Correct?
Yeah.
And Saquon Barkley having a gajillion yards, 2,000-yard season, let him walk. The Joe Schoen hard knocks moment where he's just like, yeah, we're not paying our quarterback to hand it off to it. What sort of offense we want? Not one where we're handing it off to a $12 million running back.
Yikes. Oof.
That has not come home. That has not aged well.
No.
Well, guess what? I got the sense, leaving Munich, that no matter how bad it got, the Giants weren't making a move because they don't want to be the franchise that churns. They don't want to be the ones that one and done. It's their co-tenants that do that stuff. Their co-tenants are the ones that go ahead and blow out their coach after a loss in Europe, despite it being just 5 weeks into the season. The Jets are the ones who bounce their general manager in the middle of the season. The Jets are the ones who can't find the quarterback. The Jets are the ones who churn. And look at them. We're not them, even though the results kind of mirror what's going on with the Jets. And sure enough, the Giants believe that they are better off sticking with the program for another year rather than going back into the mosh pit that the Jets are in right now looking for a coach and a GM. And Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are staying. John Mara had this to say about the decision.
I had a conversation with Steve Tisch, and we spoke some more over the weekend, and just came to the decision that staying with both of them is the best course of action for us right now. I think in Brian's case, he was the coach of the year 2 years ago. That didn't disappear all of a sudden. I still believe he can do that again. And in Joe's case, I thought we had an outstanding draft class this year. I thought we had a really good free agency period, and I really like the staff that he's put together and built. And I think that they're the right two guys to lead us going forward. I understand, believe me, that that's not going to be the most popular decision in Giant Land, but we believe it's the right decision for us going forward.
That's right. And the Giant Land is the one, whoever hired the plane to fly overhead, MetLife, and say, get rid of these people. You don't own the team. You may not even own the plane that you hired to fly that above the stadium. Asked how long it's going to take. This was John Mara's response.
How long will it take to improve the product, John?
It better not take too long, Bruce, because I've just about run out of patience.
He sure has.
Wow.
Okay. They got one more year. That's it. You got 1 year.
Well, maybe not. I mean, if it's a bad start next year, that's a quick hook.
But they're not going to be the ones to fire their coach in the middle of the season. It's just not going to happen.
Can I point something out real quick? You understand, like, we all kind of went, oh, when he said that. Doesn't it mean a little bit more when you have an owner who you rarely hear from and he makes a statement like that, as opposed to one that you have to hear from every week and you kind of
Nice.
don't. Something he says just kind of in one ear and out the other doesn't have that same type of effect.
Correct.
Like, him saying that made us all go, "Oh crap!"
Because you don't hear from him all that much, and that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll are lucky. They are lucky that they have an owner of a team that decides it is better to stick with the plan than churn through a coach again. Don't forget, I mean, Pat Shurmur, Joe Judge. I mean, they've been churning. They've been churning since Tom Coughlin.
Who's the dude with the hair, Chris?
And McAdoo.
Yes,
Ben McAdoo.
That's right.
Well, he was the head coach. He was the head coach when Odell and the crew went all to Miami the week of the playoffs.
Never recovered.
They are lucky that they have an owner that says, "All right, I see the things overhead. The fans are hiring planes, and I see what's going on down the turnpike next to the Delaware Water Gap in Philadelphia. I see all that, but I like the coach and I like the GM, and it's better to stick with them for one more year." And Giants fans are just going to have to, unfortunately, deal with it if you feel it's unfortunate. And that's the absolute truth. That is the absolute truth to it. And I know Giants fans are like thinking, you let Saquon walk, it is the cardinal sin. You cannot come back from it. The bottom line is they have to get the quarterback right. They got it wrong. The previous administration got it wrong with Daniel Jones, who had his greatest career year at the worst possible time when he had the leverage to leave. And the coach of the year, the Daboll, saw it. And they also, Joe Schoen had the right idea. Let's franchise tag him and let's get Saquon to a long-term contract. They could not get that done. Instead, they wound up franchising Saquon and they signed Daniel Jones to a long-term contract. And that sealed their fate, but not their coffin, apparently. And they've got to get the quarterback right. It is that simple. They won too many games, interestingly enough, last year to get the quarterback that they wanted, and they got Malik Neighbors instead, who 1,000,000% looks to be the best receiver of the class.
Yeah, he's great.
So they got that right, and they got some defenders right, and they do have some ideas right. But for the owner to at least acknowledge to the fan base that they're not going to be happy about it. Him saying that they got free agency right when you see McKinney going nuts in Green Bay as a Pro Bowler and you see Saquon transforming the Eagles, it's going to be a very tough pill for Giants fans to swallow.
Acquired by Brian Burns.
That's so I understand they put a plan in place, and to start churning it with a new coach and a new GM that you don't know could be any better just to satisfy an angry fan base. They've got an owner that can essentially say, not yet. And I saw that coming in Munich. I saw it coming. They like him. And there's lots to like about him, to be honest with you. And any coach that doesn't have the quarterback is going to look like a moron. It's just that simple. They're not going to look very good. And the Giants have not. But they better get the quarterback right. I don't know who it is. It's going to have to come in free agency, if not the draft. They're going to have to get a little lucky in the draft. And they're going to have to be real smart in free agency because the quarterback is not on the roster. And wasn't either. And hasn't been for a long-ass time. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.